Another fear-mongering video from the BBC, and a lady who thinks it's the government's responsibility to take care of her dog. Let's get into it. Hi there, I'm Doc Martin. Before we watch the first video, please like and subscribe, and remember this is social commentary, not medical advice. So if you're concerned about your pet, please reach out to your vet. Let's set the scene for the first video. A lady's dog eats a plant, the dog gets terribly sick, and the lady decides it's not really her responsibility.
You can't really tell, but a few months ago, Cooper almost died.
He completely stopped eating. He was like vomiting up foam, shaking. I think for me it's the guilt of like he spent days in pain because we couldn't find an answer.
He'd eaten a common garden plant and had to undergo major surgery.
I mean, how do you forgive yourself that? And it's like, I think you forget, like, they're not just dogs, are they? They're like your babies. Like, I love him the same way I love my daughter, exactly equally.
Anyone who says that their pets are equal to their babies is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely mental. If it was like a Saw type situation, like the movie Saw, the horror movie Saw, and you had a child, like not even my child, a child and a pet, the child would win every time. No questions asked. The child survives. If you're equating your pets and your babies and you're saying that they are equal, you have disqualified yourself from having both. You get no pet, you get no baby. You do not pass go, you do not collect 200 because you're bonkers.
I've been looking into the plant that almost killed Cooper. It's called a hosta and it's incredibly common. You can get it at pretty much any garden centre or homeware store, but it can be toxic to pets, and Caitlin says there's often no warnings.
This guy has a nice demeanour, but I think this is classic low quality fear mongering. He's looked into the plant, but he's not really giving you any information. Like he says, oh, can be toxic to dogs, can be toxic, it's just a big shoulder shrug, really, you know? And yet the premise of the whole video is, look at this horrifying thing that happened to this dog. Oh, do you have dogs? Oh my God, it could happen to your dog. So on one hand, he's sort of scaring you, I think, with the whole premise of the video, but not offering any concrete information. Like, his job is to report, seemingly a nice guy, but he's not reporting by saying nothing. I question how much this guy really looked into it, because if I was a reporter, the first thing I would do is phone a vet, you know? And I've only been a vet for less than a month, and if some reporter phoned me, the first thing I would do would be go to this thing called the VPIS, which is the Veterinary Poisons Information Service, which is a hotline you can call as a vet in the UK if you need guidance. But guess what? It has an owner branch. It has something that owners can call, and that's called the Animal Poison Line. So having had a superficial look at this website, I found a resource which is called Pet Safe Plants. And if we scroll down the list, we find hosta. Hosta is a pet safe plant. So does it really justify a whole fear-mongering video on a plant that largely is safe? Now, they put it in inverted commas because, and I'll read, this is a list of plants that are considered safe for households with pets. Note, however, that ingestion of any plant material may cause mild gastrointestinal upset. And I think they're also saving themselves for any sort of unusual reactions, adverse reactions, allergies, or anything that your pet might have an individual response to these plants. But they're not saying that the dog should eat these plants. They're just saying that largely they're going to cause maybe a bit of gastrointestinal upset, but they're largely safe. That took me 20 seconds to find. So I'm unsure when this reporter was looking into this story, why he didn't find this and stop there and go, okay, we could do this story, but maybe not in a way that implies that this plant is actively toxic to the dogs, actively going to kill the dog. In a way that, for example, if you were to give your cat paracetamol, you need to get that cat to the hospital, to the vet hospital immediately, because that cat's going to die from that paracetamol tablet if it does not get treatment. That's the distinction that I think is really lost in this video.
Caitlin spent more than £9,000 on Cooper's emergency care. The 25-year-old had just switched insurance providers. It meant she wasn't covered. She's now launched a petition and wants the government to introduce mandatory labelling on potentially toxic plants.
I don't want to take responsibility. I don't want to take responsibility. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing from this. Is I want the government to pet-proof my garden. Like, I bought the dog, but I don't really want to take responsibility for it. what I keep coming back to is this lady has a child, I think a daughter from the beginning of the video. Does she expect the government to baby-proof her house? Hope not. I hope not. I think it's fully mental to buy a dog and expect someone else to take responsibility for that. I think if you purchase a dog, you should take responsibility for purchasing the dog. Maybe look at your garden. If you're not sure what's safe, get advice, but definitely don't outsource it to the government. Because actually what you're doing is outsourcing it then to business owners, and then like a business owner then has to go and take the extra layer of responsibility. It's lazy. I think it's just actually lazy. I don't know, if a friend came up to me and was like, oh, I wish the government would take responsibility for my dog, I'd be like, babes, pull yourself together. You chose to have a dog. Anyway, those are my opinions, but I'm very interested to know your opinions. Do you have children? Do you have pets? Do you think your children are equal to your pets? Do you love them equally? Should the government make labelling of plants mandatory? Let me know your thoughts, and thanks for watching.